Ready to ace that raw material reception operator interview?
You bet it.
We're diving deep today, folks, getting into those tricky interview questions and giving you the strategies to really knock their socks off.
We're talking about the real deal here.
Oh yeah, grains, potatoes, cassava root, you name it. You'll be the quality gatekeeper of making sure those raw materials are top-notch. And we've got something special to help us out today.
RoleCatcher.
That's right. It's a platform using AI to help tailor your answers, give you feedback, and just basically make you shine.
Like having an AI coach right in your pocket.
Exactly. Before we jump into the interview stuff, though, we got to talk about the free resources RoleCatcher offers.
Most definitely.
There's over 3,000 career guides,
Wow.
13,000 skill guides, and get this, 17,000 interview guides.
It's a treasure trove for anyone looking to nail their job search.
It really is.
Yeah.
And especially if you're just starting out in this field.
Even those entry-level positions are super valuable. You get your foot in the door, get that hands-on experience.
That's so important. And here's where RoleCatcher's AI can really help.
How so?
Well, it pinpoints the gaps in your resume.
Yeah.
So you know exactly what skills to focus on, what to improve. No more guessing games.
That's really smart.
Right.
Targeted improvement is key.
Now, are you ready to tackle those interview questions?
Bring them on.
All right. We're going through the top 10 most common questions for raw material reception operators,
Sounds good.
figuring out what the interviewer is really looking for and how you can give those amazing, compelling answers.
And we'll be throwing in some potential follow-up questions, too. Got to keep you on your toes.
Okay, first question. Describe your experience working in a manufacturing environment. Sounds simple, but what's the hidden meaning?
It's all about showing that you understand the manufacturing world, the pace, the processes, the focus on efficiency.
Right. So if you've got direct experience, great. Share those specific examples, working in teams, meeting production goals, handling that fast-paced environment.
Absolutely, but what if someone doesn't have direct experience?
Good point. What then?
Well, they can still highlight transferable skills from other jobs,
Like what?
like following strict procedures, working with machinery, managing inventory, anything that shows they can handle the demands of this role.
That makes sense. Okay, next question. How do you ensure the quality of raw materials received? How would you approach this one?
Well, this is your chance to really shine as a quality champion.
Right, go for it.
Explain your process, from visual inspection to using the specific tools and equipment you're familiar with. Don't just tell them, show them.
I love that.
You know, mention those weighing scales, moisture meters, whatever tools you use to demonstrate your expertise. And don't forget documentation.
Ah, yes, the paperwork.
Explain how you carefully record your findings, especially when you find any discrepancies.
Okay, so what if they follow up with something like, what would you do if a shipment of subpar materials arrived?
That's a great follow-up because it gives you the chance to show off your problem-solving skills.
Like a pro.
Exactly. Explain the steps you'd take, how you isolate those bad materials, who you'd notify, how you get it all resolved.
And it's super important to mention that you follow company protocols to the letter.
Mm-hmm.
You want to assure them that only the best materials are making it through.
Speaking of protocols, this is where RoleCatcher's AI feedback is a total game changer.
Oh, yeah. Tell us about that.
You can practice answering these questions, record yourself, and then get personalized feedback on your delivery, your clarity, even your body language.
It's amazing what technology can do these days.
I know, right? Okay, on to the next question. How do you prioritize and manage your workload? We all juggle a million things, so how do you showcase your organizational superpowers?
That's the question, isn't it?
You got to show that you can stay cool under pressure. So explain your system for prioritizing tasks. Maybe you use a to-do list, an app, or just a good old-fashioned whiteboard.
I'm a big fan of to-do lists myself.
Whatever works, right?
Absolutely. But get specific. Mention techniques like time blocking, setting realistic deadlines, breaking those bigger tasks into smaller chunks.
All great tips. And something people often forget, communication is so important.
Well, tell me about it.
Do you keep your supervisor informed about potential delays? Do you keep your team in the loop? Those things matter.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Right. Now, what if they throw you a curveball and say, tell me about a time you had a super demanding workload. How did you manage?
Classic behavioral question.
They want to see you in action. So think of a specific example.
Right, let's go.
You had a tight deadline, multiple projects, maybe some unexpected challenges. How did you handle it?
And don't be afraid to be honest. It's okay to say it was stressful.
Exactly. But what matters is that you stayed focused, adapted, and ultimately achieved those results.
Okay, on to question number 4. How do you handle non-conforming raw materials? This one's all about attention to detail and following those procedures.
You got to be like a detective, right? Inspecting everything, looking for anything out of place.
So walk them through your process. Visual inspection, using those measuring tools, conducting tests, and again, documentation is key.
Right. Make sure to mention those detailed findings. The discrepancy, the quantity, any batch or lot numbers, accuracy is everything.
What if they follow up with, imagine a large shipment of materials arrives, but it's slightly below the required quality standard. What do you do?
Time to demonstrate your knowledge of company protocols.
Show them you're a rule follower.
Exactly. Who do you notify? Supervisor, quality control, the supplier. Explain those established procedures for quarantining those materials and taking corrective action.
You're not just reacting, you're thinking ahead.
You're showing that you understand the potential impact on production and you're committed to minimizing those disruptions. All right, let's move on. Question number 5 is all about inventory management.
Describe your experience with inventory management. It's the heart of manufacturing, right?
It is. They want to see if you understand the importance of accurate record keeping, stock rotation, and minimizing waste.
So share your experience, whether it's from a warehouse, a retail store, even a restaurant. It all counts.
And highlight any specific software or systems you've used, inventory databases, barcode scanners, anything that shows you're tech savvy.
Love it. And if you've got any strategies for improving inventory accuracy or reducing shrinkage, definitely mention those.
You're painting a picture of yourself as someone who's proactive and results-oriented.
Now, let's say they hit you with a follow-up question. Describe a time you had to resolve an inventory discrepancy. How did you approach that problem?
Another chance to show off those problem-solving skills.
So describe the situation, how you investigated, and the steps you took to get those records straightened out.
What they're really looking for is accuracy, attention to detail, and the ability to work independently.
Great points. Okay, next up, describe your experience working with hazardous materials. This is where safety comes first, right?
Absolutely. Always start by acknowledging the importance of safety when handling those hazardous materials. Then, share any training or certifications you have.
Like KZ-MAT handling, OSHA regulations. Those are gold.
For sure. And if you've got experience with specific hazardous materials relevant to the job, definitely mention those too.
It shows you've got the knowledge and the skills.
But don't just list them. Explain how you've actually applied those safety procedures in real-world situations.
Prove you can walk the walk.
Exactly. Now, they might throw a curveball and say, imagine you see a colleague handling a hazardous material the wrong way. What would you do?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It's testing your commitment to safety. So you'd explain that you'd intervene immediately, calmly explain the right procedures, and make sure the situation is handled safely. It's about looking out for everyone, not just yourself.
Absolutely. Promoting that culture of safety is so important. And guess what?
What's that?
RoleCatcher can help you identify those safety-related keywords to use in your resume and cover letter.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It can really make those crucial skills stand out. Okay, moving on to question number 7. How do you ensure compliance with regulatory requirements?
The food processing industry is all about those rules and regulations.
So they want to know that you're aware of things like FDA or USDA regulations and how they apply to your work.
How do you stay up to date on all those updates?
Good question. You could mention industry conferences, trade publications, online resources, anything that shows you're in the know.
It shows you're taking initiative to stay current.
Right. And then highlight those procedures you follow to ensure compliance, detailed records, regular audits, quality control checks. It's all about being proactive.
Showing them you're on top of those requirements. What if they follow up with, describe a time you had to ensure compliance with a new regulation? How did you adapt?
This is where you showcase your flexibility and problem-solving abilities.
All right, so
You describe the regulation, the challenges it presented, and the steps you took to implement it smoothly. Show them you can learn quickly, collaborate, and make those transitions happen without a hitch. Okay, question number 8 is coming up. Describe a time when you had to troubleshoot an issue with raw materials.
time to show off those problem-solving skills again.
It's another behavioral question, so have that specific example ready, one that demonstrates your analytical thinking and how you identify and resolve problems effectively.
Give them the situation, the problem, and the potential impact it had on production or quality. Walk them through your thought process.
Exactly. How did you gather information? What tools did you use? What steps did you take? And of course, what's the outcome?
Always focus on those positive results. Now, what if they ask, what did you learn from that experience and how has it changed your approach to problem solving.
It's all about showing you're a lifelong learner.
Talk about those lessons learned, the skills you developed, and how you apply those insights to new challenges.
It's okay to admit you made mistakes. Everyone does. The important thing is to show how you learn and grow from those experiences.
Okay, question number 9. How do you ensure the safety of yourself and others when handling raw materials? It's not just knowing the rules, it's about living and breathing that safety culture.
Absolutely. Emphasize that safety is everyone's responsibility, and you make it a top priority in everything you do.
So get specific. What personal protective equipment do you always use? How do you maintain a clean and organized workspace? Those little details matter.
And talk about communication. How do you make sure everyone on your team knows the safety procedures and the potential hazards?
You're creating that environment where people feel safe speaking up if they see something wrong. Okay, they might ask, describe a time you had to address a safety concern. What did you do?
Another chance to show your proactive approach to safety.
So you describe the situation, how you spotted the concern, and the actions you took to resolve it.
Teamwork is key here. Highlight how you collaborated with others to ensure everyone's safety.
Got it. And finally, the last question. How do you stay up to date with industry trends and best practices?
The food processing world is constantly changing, so they want to see that you're committed to continuous learning.
Right. So share your professional development activities, conferences, online courses, trade publications, anything that shows you're staying current.
And explain what you learned and how you applied that knowledge to your work. Show them you're not just passively consuming information, you're actively using it.
And for potential follow-up, they might ask, what are some of the most significant industry trends you've observed, and how do you think they'll impact the role of a raw material reception operator?
Time to shine as an industry expert. Share your thoughts on those emerging technologies, changing regulations, or consumer trends. Explain how you see those things shaping the future of the field.
It's okay to express your opinions, just make sure you can back them up with evidence.
And show them you've got a deep understanding of the industry landscape.
Wow, that was a whirlwind of interview questions.
We covered a lot, but remember, practice makes perfect.
Practice those answers, refine your delivery, and let that passion shine through. And don't forget, RoleCatcher is there to support you every step of the way.
With those incredible AI-powered tools, you'll be ready to rock that interview.
You've got this.
You know, when you think about it, a raw material reception operator isn't just about checking things off a list.
It's so much more than that.
Right. It's a career with real potential.
Okay, so we just went through those tough interview questions, but now I want to know, what's it actually like working in this role?
Well, the cool thing is it's a really stable industry.
Makes sense, everyone's got to eat right.
Exactly, and there's lots of room to grow and specialize.
So you can move up, become a supervisor, maybe even manage a whole team.
For sure, and there's something else that's important when you're in the interview.
Like what?
Show them you're passionate about quality. Like when you talk about inspecting those raw materials, let that enthusiasm shine through.
Oh, so don't be afraid to geek out a little.
Exactly, like share what you find interesting about the materials. The grains, potatoes, cassava root. Show them you're genuinely interested, not just there for the paycheck.
So you said there's room to grow. What are some typical career paths for this role?
Well, as you get more experience, you move up the ladder, take on more responsibility.
So like what specifically?
Well, you start as a junior operator, then senior operator, and maybe even lead raw material reception operator.
Okay, let's break that down. What would each of those roles look like day to day?
So at the entry level, you're really focused on receiving, inspecting, and distributing those raw materials, mastering those quality checks, learning the ropes, you know.
Oh.
Then as a junior operator, you have more independence. You're operating equipment, keeping detailed records, maybe even helping to train new team members.
Got it.
Then you become a senior operator. You're overseeing the whole process, making sure everything's compliant, troubleshooting problems, maybe even working with suppliers.
Wow, that's a pretty cool progression.
Yeah.
So for someone who really wants to be in charge, there's that lead operator role.
Exactly. You'd lead a team, set the standards for quality, and really push for continuous improvement.
You know, the source material we have actually gives some examples of what people at different stages might say about their roles.
Yeah, it helps you imagine what you might be doing and saying a few years down the line.
So for example, someone just starting out, an entry-level raw material reception operator might say, I'm really detail-oriented and I'm passionate about quality. I finished my training and got hands-on experience with receiving and inspecting raw materials.
They're highlighting those essential skills right from the start.
Makes sense. Now what about a junior operator?
They might say something like, I'm good at operating equipment on my own. I evaluate and grade raw materials, and I like working with other teams to make things better.
You can see how they're focusing on independence and collaboration.
Exactly. Those are important for that next step.
Okay, now imagine a senior operator. What would they say?
They might say, I'm really good at overseeing the whole process of receiving and distributing raw materials. I make sure we meet all the quality standards. And I also train and mentor the junior operators.
They're taking on more of a leadership role.
Right. They're focused on mentoring, and they really understand those quality systems.
And finally, what about a lead operator?
Well, they might say, I've successfully led a team of operators, assigned tasks, and made sure everything ran smoothly. And I've created and implemented some really strong quality control procedures.
Wow, so they're thinking big picture now.
Exactly. They're doing strategic planning, and they're really driving excellence.
I like how these examples let you see how you might grow in this role. It makes you think about where you want to be in 5 years.
Exactly. What steps can you take now to get there?
And it's not just about moving up. It's about finding what you're really good at and what you enjoy.
Like maybe you love working with a specific type of raw material, or maybe you're interested in new technology.
So how do you stay ahead of the curve in this industry?
Never stop learning. There are so many resources out there, like online courses, workshops, industry events.
Are there any organizations you'd recommend checking out?
Definitely check out the American Association of Grain Inspection and Weighing Agencies or the International Association of Operative Millers. They're great for networking and learning.
Joining organizations like those is a great way to meet people, learn about trends, and even find mentors to help you along the way.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of showing off your experience, you need a really good portfolio.
Yeah, it's more than just a resume. You should document your projects, your achievements, the ways you've helped improve things. And you know what? RoleCatcher has a tool that can help you build a digital portfolio.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a much more engaging way to show what you can do.
It really is. Okay, let's get back to RoleCatcher and all those amazing AI features. Remember that interview practice we talked about?
The one with AI feedback?
Yes, it's so helpful. It's like having a coach analyze everything you say and do. It helps you improve your delivery, your clarity, even your body language.
And then there's that resume and cover letter builder. RoleCatcher's AI can actually tailor your application to each job you apply for.
It saves so much time, and it can really increase your chances of getting an interview.
It's like having a personal resume writer. And don't forget, even the free version of RoleCatcher has great tools, so everyone should check it out.
It's an amazing resource. Whether you need help with career guides or interview prep, RoleCatcher is there to support you every step of the way.
So we've really explored a lot in this deep dive, haven't we? From interview questions to career paths and all those cool AI tools that RoleCatcher offers.
It's been a journey. But before we finish, I think it's important to take a step back and see the big picture.
Okay, I like that. What's the bigger picture here?
It's not just about acing an interview. It's about understanding the role you'll play in the food production chain.
I've never thought about it like that.
But it's true. You'll be the first one making sure that only the best quality ingredients are used in the products we all buy.
That's a big responsibility.
It is. So when you're preparing for that interview, don't just focus on your skills and experience.
There's more to it than that.
Definitely.
No.
It's also about showing your passion, your commitment to quality, and really understanding how important this role is.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, let's recap. What are some key takeaways from our deep dive?
Well, first, remember that preparation is key. RoleCatcher has amazing resources. Those career guides, skill guides, and interview guides. Use them to understand the role, figure out your strengths, and tailor your application.
Those are great resources. And don't forget about those AI tools.
Right. The resume builder, the interview practice with AI feedback, they can give you a real edge.
Okay, what else should our listeners remember?
Don't forget about those soft skills. Communication, teamwork, problem solving. They're just as important as your technical skills.
For sure. You want to show the interviewer that you're a team player, you take initiative, and you really care about quality. What else?
Never stop learning. The food processing industry is always changing. Stay curious, keep learning new things, and never stop growing.
So join those professional organizations. Go to workshops. Make connections.
Exactly. And most importantly, believe in yourself. You got this.
Go into that interview with confidence and enthusiasm and that desire to be a part of this important industry. Now, before we wrap up, I have a question for our listeners.
Oh, I love a good question. What is it?
What part of this role excites you the most? What makes you want to be a raw material reception operator?
That's a great question. When you connect with that passion, it will show in your interview, and that's what will make you stand out.
So there you have it. We've given you the tools, the insights, and the motivation to rock that interview.
Now it's up to you to take action. Put those insights to work and go after your goals with everything you've got. And remember, RoleCatcher's there to support you every step of the way.
Keep learning, keep growing, and never stop striving for excellence. That's it for this deep dive into the world of raw material reception operators. We'll see you next time for another fascinating journey into the world of knowledge and insights. Until then, keep exploring,